Hello and welcome to this presentation, HazCom, What Most Companies Miss. My name is Danica. I'm a consultant with WisCon. I also coordinate a few additional projects for our group. We are all familiar with HazCom. It's been around for several decades. We know that the standard requires companies to establish a written program, maintain SDSs, properly label chemical containers, and train employees on HazCom. So if you're doing all of this, you're good, right? Well, maybe. The Achilles heel for most companies is training, and here's why. Companies tend to train on pictograms, labeling, SDSs, all of the general HazCom stuff that is common to all companies. They may even convey this information to employees by playing a video. What they commonly overlook is this. Employees must be trained on the hazards associated with the chemicals in the employee's work area. This means that welders should be trained on the hazards associated with metal fumes and the anti-spatter sprays and dips that they use. If you have spray booths, painters should be trained on the chemicals handled within the booths. If you have propane-powered equipment such as forklifts, employees should be trained on carbon monoxide. Which brings us back to the HazCom training video. Hopefully you're realizing that unless your company made the video in-house or provides supplemental site-specific training to employees, that HazCom training video won't cut it. At this point, you may be thinking, how am I going to train employees on this when we handle hundreds of chemicals? Don't panic. You might find that most of the chemicals that you handle in a given work area have similar hazards, which simplifies training. What you'll want to do is pull some SDSs for a work area. Hone in on Section 2. You can see in this example SDS that the product is flammable, causes eye damage or irritation, and targets the central nervous system, kidney, liver, spleen, and blood. That's your starter list of hazards. When you pull an SDS for another like product, you may see the same hazards described plus another, respiratory tract irritation. Add that to the list of hazards that you will describe when training employees on that group of chemicals, and continue this process of building hazard descriptions for each of the work areas at your site. The goal here isn't to make employees experts on all of the products that they handle, but they should be informed of the range of hazards associated with the chemicals that they work with. And here's why this matters, aside from legal compliance. Imagine that you have an employee who's diagnosed with kidney disease. Because you trained him to understand that the products he works with can harm the kidneys, that employee approaches HR and asks to be assigned to another work area. The company accommodates that request. This action stops the progression of the disease and affords the employee a long working career and the healthy retirement that we all dream about. Now imagine the reverse. The employee receives the diagnosis but was never trained to understand that the products he handles impact the kidneys. The employee continues working with those products for another 10 years. During those years, the products he handles further aggravate his kidneys. His condition slides into kidney failure. He misses work a few days per week for dialysis and is less productive while he's at work because he frequently feels dizzy and ill. His quality of life is not good, and this affects not only him, but also his wife and children. The point here is that OSHA requires companies to perform site-specific chemical training because that information affords employees the ability to make informed decisions that can completely alter their lives. To summarize what we've learned, general HazCom training is important. Site-specific training on the chemicals handled by employees is also important and legally required. That information can literally save lives.